Joining us on the line, Joseph Curl with the Washington Times. Joseph, you've had some things to say about Hillary Clinton. And before we get started in our conversation, I want to play a little piece of tape that came from the State Department briefing yesterday. This is interaction between the Associated Press's Matt Lee and Jen Psaki, the spokesperson, and it has to do with a form, Form 109, a form that Hillary Rodham Clinton was supposed to have signed when she left as Secretary of State, and there's some question about whether or not she signed it. Listen to this exchange.
The other thing is, last week, I think a couple times you were asked about whether the department has a record of former Secretary Clinton signing the separation form.
I don't have an update on this, Matt. We're still working on it. I understand.
I mean, you know, the Human Resources Department presumably has a file on every employee. It can't be that difficult to.
I don't think former secretaries are.
They don't have files.
Standard employees. Certainly.
Well, they might not be, but I mean, how hard can it be to find?
I understand why you're asking. We're looking to get an answer. I don't have an answer today.
Yeah, this goes on and on and on for about 88 seconds. I'm trying to ask the simple question: did she sign the dang form, or did she not sign the dang form? Is this something that matters? And shouldn't they be able to get this answer pretty quickly?
Well, it's absolutely something that matters. It's and contrary to what Jen Psaki, the spokeswoman from the State Department, is saying, is she is just another employee. Hillary Clinton is like any other employee. She works for the government. She works for the people of the United States, and that reporter is exactly right. Of course, there's a file. There's a file on her, just like there's a file on anyone else. And when you leave government service, you have to go through. You know how the government is. They like their hoops and their red tape. So when you leave government service, you've got to go through a lot of processes to get to the point where you finally are severed, and you've got to sign these forms. These forms say that you have. That's what Form 109 says. You have turned over everything that you're supposed to turn over to the government. Everything that you collected while you were there, official government documents and things have been turned over. So if she signed it, then that's perjury, and that's punishable.
So either she signed it and she's in violation of the law because she didn't turn everything over, or she didn't sign it and she's in violation of the law because she should have signed it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And remember, the other thing that's been happening all the way up to this point is that the House Subcommittee on Select Committee on Benghazi has been demanding all kinds of documents. So, this has been going then back to, and same with reporters and other watchdog groups have been going to the State Department and saying, hey, we want these documents. Now, they're supposedly then searching for documents that apply. They do a lot of keyword searches, and they try to find documents that apply under the request. So, of course, they're not finding any because they're not in the State Department system. So they go back to a reporter or a watchdog group, and they say, we don't have anything that meets your request. Well, that, again, is highly illegal. If it's collected and held on a separate server, it can't be properly searched. So that means that Hillary Clinton, the State Department, has not handed over documents that have been requested and even subpoenaed by a congressional committee, which is got to be a serious infraction.
Joseph Curl's our guest. He's the editor of WriteRead.com and also a columnist at Washington Times. And your Sunday column says, your opening sentence says it all. Let's get down to brass tacks. Hillary Rodham Clinton should be criminally charged for failing to turn over her government emails as mandated by law. Now, Team Hillary will say, oh, we did turn them all over. I mean, we went through first and deleted all our personal emails, but we turned them all over. So make your case, Joseph Curl, for criminal charges here.
Well, see, and this is what's going to be most interesting. Is it's not a matter of whether they've turned over. See, again, we won't know whether they've turned over. We'll never know, and that's what makes it unusual that Hillary Clinton even did this. We'll never know, even if she's telling us the full truth. We'll never know that she's turned over all of her documents. But even before that, the question is that when she left office in 2013. She was supposed to have signed this document, which says that she has complied by everything in that document. And if she didn't do it, that's just simply a violation. There's no way around it. She should be, and the government has charged plenty of other people with this, including Scooter Libby was charged under this. He was chief of staff for Dick Cheney. He was charged under this very thing. So it would not be unusual. Now, of course, Eric Holder would never charge somebody in the Obama administration, but But looking at this, it's just simply a clear violation of the law, and it can't be any other way.
But we have her on record in front of cameras speaking to the American people saying, and I quote, "I fully complied with every rule I was governed by."
Well, that's the Clinton way, and of course, what the Clintons also like to do is they like to comply with the spirit of the law, which is another thing they said. Well, the law is not a spirit. The law is that's why they write it down and put it in the books. And what was funny about the press conference is it was in the press conference that she's actually making the full admission that she did violate the law if she signed this document. Now, it's very possible if they haven't found this document, as the reporter said, how hard is it to go look in her file? If they haven't found this and they're asking for a couple more weeks, my guess is they'll never find it, and they'll say she didn't sign it, and so therefore she's not in violation of the law. So that's how this will probably all play out. But it's a real shame that the Congress will not get involved in this and say, look, this is simply a violation of the law, and handle it themselves. They could probably do something themselves on this.
Joseph Curl, James Carville, the chief defender and, attack dog for the Clintons for these many decades, he tried to rationalize Hillary Clinton's behavior on the Sunday show ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos. By the way, can we just point out the irony of George Stephanopoulos interviewing James Carville about Hillary Clinton's behavior? That's remarkable.
That's rich, yeah.
But this is what James Carville said may have been the motivating factor.
I suspect she didn't want Louis Gohmert rifling through her emails, which seems to me to be a kind of reasonable position for someone to take.
By the way, to that, Andrea Mitchell yesterday said, with friends like that, you don't need Ken Starr. I mean, is this another angle that a prosecutor could take?
Well, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's most frightening about the Clintons and some of the top, most liberal lefties is their willingness to use any means to get to the ends. The means justifying the ends what seems to be the important thing there. And right there, just that statement of saying she doesn't want Louis Gohmert, looking through her emails. Well, that's called congressional oversight. That's part of the whole process.
Yeah.
That's the reason there's an executive branch and cabinet members and a congressional branch that looks over things. So, clearly that was her intent. There's no question that her intent was to stay out of the limelight, stay out of the flow of information, and not have all of her documents held there. So, yeah, that's of course it's ironic that it's James Carville, because he knows better than anyone else,
right,
how the Clintons operate.
Joe, real fast, you just mentioned how liberals are sort of justifying this behavior because they want the ends. The ends, of course, being Hillary Clinton, the first woman president. As a former editor of the Drudge Report, you spent a lot of time watching the left and watching these liberal columnists. Maureen Dowd on Sunday really fired away at this and really blew apart the idea that, listen, guys, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go through this. Are you seeing a chipping away here? We've only got 30 seconds, Joe.
Well, absolutely. The Democrats are, this is the thing. They've been sitting there quietly watching all this and thinking Hillary is next in line. She's going to be the first female president. But they're suddenly thinking right now, oh, my God, we're going to do this for another 2 years. We're going to go back to the whole Clinton ways and do this again. There's starting to be an awful lot of mumbling among Democrats.
All right, Joseph, we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.